Hello, everyone. Welcome on into a new episode of the Ill-Fitting Podcast. I'm here with Buddy Games. How are you guys doing today? How...
We're doing good, thank you. How are you doing?
Doing great. I'm. We've been talking about getting this episode going for a while, and it's finally happening. It's finally here. I'm.
I'm
When did we
so
start talking about
sorry.
it? Before Christmas? Was
Yeah,
it like
Yes,
November?
yeah. It was late November, early December. I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm really
that's
excited.
us for you. Yeah,
But
like we're up for it, but you're gonna have to just wait because we have the most busiest schedule ever between the three of us.
I mean,
Trying to find
I
time
got
where all three of us are free is such a challenge.
yeah. I got busy too, and it worked out. Like February was perfect. And I'm really excited. You guys picked a really fun topic for this week. I'm like, it's like,
I'm looking at Liam's face right now. Fun?
There's nothing fun in it.
When we were talking about this, Colton, because you were saying like, "Oh, I want you to come up with the idea because we're the guests of this, that, and the other." So we had a chat about it, and literally when the idea of just sewer levels came up, we're like, "Oh, we'll put that in as a joke, just for variety and a joke." And then when you went for it, we were like, right, let's do this. Here we go. Podcast on sewer levels. Like, let's go. We loved it.
We were really struggling because the only things we can come up with are quite generic things like, what was your favourite game of 2024? Or what are you looking forward to in 2025? And it was like, well, we've heard all these things before. We want something, but we just couldn't think of anything unique. And then the sewer level one came up. So
the sewer level. It has to be like one of the most unique topics we've had on the show. Like, that and one of my friends picked walking mechanics before, which was like probably the hardest.
Interesting one.
It was interesting, yeah. Like I got stuck on it forever, and I did get stuck on this one for a while too. But so I'm really excited to hop into it. But guys, do you want to plug yourselves real quick? Let them know where we can find you.
Yeah, I can take that.
Go on, Nick, take it away.
So, like we said, we are Buddy Games. We're a team of three. We stream PlayStation 1 games all the way to PlayStation 5 on our Twitch channel at Buddy Games with 2 S's. And we also have lots of other social medias where we do lots of behind-the-scenes stuff, as well as create other visual forms of content like photography. We do some pictures of video games that we have and events around that. We make some celebratory art, something as well on our socials. And we interact with our community as well through Discord, which is something that we're extremely proud of because we love the buddies and they give us way more back than we could ever give them as a result, and we just love them for that. So yes, that's kind of what we do over there. It's all about a great comfort couch co-op gaming. That classic bedroom feeling of visiting your friends at like high school, secondary school. I don't know what the terms are in the UK. There's always a different term for like in your youth, basically. When you visit a friend, whether it's a co-op game, a single player game, that's the kind of stuff that we do over there. We want to bring those vibes back of like, I know this game, you don't know what that is. Let's show it to everyone and see what it's all about. So it's all about good vibes and great company.
Perfect. Yeah, I love that. I absolutely love that. Let's hop into the topic. Oh, I'm sorry.
Hop in the sewers.
Do you guys have a game you want to start, or do you want me to start it? How do you guys want? It's very casual.
I feel like Liam should start because Liam's the main inspiration for this topic. Can you at least tell us, Liam, what your in case people don't know, can you explain what your opinions are on sewers and what brought this about?
I don't understand why every single game needs a sewer level. They're in so many, even games that don't need sewer levels have sewer levels. They are just they're dull, they're boring, they're brown, they're uninteresting. For some reason they always turn it into some weird labyrinth as well, just to extend your time in the sewer, which you definitely don't want to be in. In the old days of like Final Fantasy, it was just constant battles popping up all the time. We just want to progress, but every single 3 steps you're getting another battle, coming up. And they're just really, really boring. I don't understand why everyone I don't think anyone loves them, but I don't understand why everyone doesn't have a problem with them. Why is everyone just happy with sewer levels? That's my problem with it. Why are more people just not complaining about sewer levels? And why do games keep on putting sewer levels in their games as well? They don't need to be there. Even
But to
like
be
you
fair-
play like I don't know. I'm trying to think of an actual game that has a sewer level now. When Brian, it'll be like you're playing some like cool shooter game, right? Like some sort of Call of Duty style game, and it's really cool. The visuals are amazing. You're doing this like stealthy combat with snipers, and they're like, right now we need to get into the sewer level and get underground so we can sneak into the base. And it's just, and then suddenly you're just stuck in a sewer level for 4 hours before you can actually progress and have more fun with the game.
You're broken away from the immersion. You're just like, no, I'm not sabotaging this
Yeah.
important mission HQ. I'm just in a sewer. Come on now.
There's only one sewer level in the history of my gaming experience that I absolutely love and adore. It's very short, it's very quick, and it's very pretty. And I will tell you all about that later to add a bit of suspense to this stream.
Ooh.
Listen to the end of this podcast to hear.
Yeah, head over to our Patreon, and I'll tell you.
After this short break.
It's just funny though, because literally, I'm sure we all play games loads here, and I never thought about it until Liam pointed it out. And then when Liam pointed it out, I was like, oh my god, they literally do appear in so many places and so many times. It is just like, oh, it's the sewer bit, you get to something, you're like, ugh. But I never noticed how often it happens until Liam pointed it out, and now I can't unsee it. But there are also some great sewer levels, which is why I think this is going to be a really fun, interesting chat to have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We acknowledge sewer levels, but also appreciate sewer levels.
Yeah. I was like the labyrinth thing is so true too. Like it's just a huge maze. Every sewer level almost is just a straight maze to the end. But I will argue that that's why sewer levels might have some of the best items and treasures you can find in games too.
See, I've never found any of them because I just wanted to leave.
You just booking it out of there.
I'm not exploring this.
That's I think like one of my favorite sewer level games is Final Fantasy VII Remake. Like the whole transition to the sewer is perfect, and then you get this big boss fight right at the beginning, and I love that. There's all these different like Mako, or why am I drawing a blank on this? The spears.
The enemies with the spears, and they jump in the air and they can turn you into frogs.
No, the magic orbs. Why am I forgetting?
Materia.
Oh my god! It's like the biggest thing in the game.
Sorry, when you said spear, I thought of those enemies.
Yeah. No, I've never heard of Materia. What's that? Is that in Final Fantasy? Is it? Never heard of it.
Yeah. I don't know. Why did I draw a blank on that? But yeah, there's so much materia down there. There's so much. There's puzzles. There's everything. Like that sewer is packed full of just all this different uniqueness to it, and I really loved it.
Is that the same one where is it when Corneo drops you down and then you land into the sewers, and then it's like immediately that boss fight?
Yes, yeah.
Because I know there's like two moments, isn't there, in Final Fantasy VII, when you go like you get dropped in the sewers, you get out, and then later on, isn't it that you go back in the sewers? In order to
remember if you go back to the sewer, but they might have snuck out through a sewer in like the beginning of the game.
Maybe. Oh, well, Lee in the chat says technically yes, so I'm going to presume that that's in reference to my question. Because I think I remember definitely the part where it's like you just met Corneo, which is like, a scene in itself, and then you have the trap door and then you fall down. Then you're right, it does start with like an epic boss fight, and I do remember that it's not like a difficulty spike in the game, but it's definitely a boss that does put up a challenge. And you are like at the stage you are in the game, you are like, okay, I've got to take this a bit more seriously. So it's great at that. I just mainly remember because that is the area I think where you get introduced to the enemies which have like the spears and then they turn you into a frog. And I remember
an annoying enemy in a sewer. I want a shot. I want a shot.
But you love being turned into
Yeah.
a frog. Oh, apparently Karai says that they don't remember a second sewer section in Final Fantasy VII. Maybe I'm just making it up. I thought you went back in there. I could just be lying, but
there's only one. Yeah, I'm afraid.
that's
I
but you
only
could have told me earlier.
I was like, I couldn't remember if like after the first like Mako reactor at the beginning, if they snuck out through a sewer. It wasn't much of a sewer if it was one. It was like a perfect Liam level sewer.
Mm.
I don't know why. I think I might have created the scene in my head. I thought it was when, like, you know, the guy in Remake in the cap, he's like later on in the game, and he's like, "Oh, let me help you out, and I can guide you somewhere." And I know probably a different area guide you through. It's been so long since I've played Final Fantasy VII Remake, but it is. But either way, that section is a fun section.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's amazing.
Rosie, I've got a question for Rosie.
Yeah.
In the game Stray,
Yes.
what's the least favorite level? What's your least favorite level when you're playing that game?
I don't know. I didn't really have a least favorite level.
There is one.
I wrote it down as one of mine too. Yeah, it's not it's a really stressful level.
Oh, this is the part where I said that wasn't stressful to me at all.
Yeah.
No, because I'm trying to think. Literally, I thought the most stressful part in Stray was when you're running away from all the little.
No, they're lovely.
creatures.
They're lovely, those bits.
Because
They're
there's
fun.
a trophy when you have to like avoid them without getting attacked. Like, so like in the first encounter, but that's like the first stressful thing I could think of. I don't know what you're referring to. In all
So
honesty,
in the game Stray, there is a sewer level within it, and in that sewer level, there is those little things that grab onto you everywhere in that level. Do you remember it? And it's really boring as well. Area. It's just like some platforms and some water and some pillars, and that's it. And
No,
all
I
the
don't remember that.
platforms. See, you blanked it out because it's such an awful experience. You don't look back on it. And you go, wow. Do you know what? That was a great level. I love that level in Stray.
Well, literally, because I was thinking about Stray, because I know that Stray's got some like areas which are like dark and damp, and I was like, because Nico and I were talking about it just before the podcast, and I just immediately thought of the first area, you know, when the cat falls down and then he's like all sad and limping a bit. But then I was like, no, that's not a sewer. That's more like a.
That's more like a pipe or like a kind of water.
Yeah,
it's like
because
a
I thought it
pipe
was
here,
like
isn't
it was
or...
either that or it was like a subway or something like that, or like an underground train type area. Like at least for my memory, that's what was popping up in my head. I was like, oh, that's not a sewer. I don't think Stray had any sewers.
Yeah, in the sewer level for Stray, it's the one where you finally get the ultraviolet light, and you got to like shine it on the little poppy things, the little eggs, the alien eggs. They're everywhere.
Yeah,
and they look just like facehugger eggs.
I'm gonna have to look this up. Hang on, let's have a look.
It's it's probably the most annoying level in that game for sure.
Really is.
But
really is.
Well, let me give you a leading question then, Liam. Do you believe that there are like any like good sewer levels in any games?
There's one good sewer level out there in the whole world.
Okay.
But I'm revealing that later.
Oh yeah, after the commercial.
I just looked at that level in Stray, and I personally don't remember much about it. In terms, I don't remember it being stressful or difficult or anything like that.
I've got 3 that come to mind that are like really iconic and great.
Right.
The first one is Half-Life 2, the opening sequence. There's a lot of like wells and sewages and stuff where you climb through with the boats and stuff. That's a great one. But I don't have a lot of attachment to that one, but it's such a great opener. I'm very certain there's a huge audience for that one.
Literally, I'm trying to remember the start of Half-Life 2, and all I remember is when you're going through the security gates, and then you've got all the guards.
Well, a bit beyond that point. Okay. It's a little bit beyond that point. We have all the water, and stuff. Yeah, on this little boat you have to cross through.
Oh,
lots of action sequences. It's a fantastic bit. So that's a good part for gameplay. Atmosphere, I've got a great one. That's going to have to be Silent Hill, because at the very end of the game, you're going through a sewer sequence, and as we all know in horror games and stuff, Silent Hill is all about like, you know, psychological horror, trying to find ways to make you uneased and scared in the environment that you find yourself in. So what happens in Silent Hill, what they do is they create these long, confusing hallways. Again, a maze, right, with a sewage, but they use that in their advantage in a way because they make it deliberately difficult to go through. But whilst you're going through the sewages over there, you get bombarded by all these enemies, and whilst they're doing that, they have this music and it's like dang, 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 dang,
It's very
and it just
stressful.
completely just makes you feel like you just want to run, run, run. It's like Dead Space does that too.
Yeah.
You're just fully pumped with adrenaline, and as soon as you're about to get out, they decide to drop a jump scare on top of you by doing like something as if like something falls from like 4 stories down, or someone just slams on a wall with something loud, and as a result, it completely catches you off guard.
Yeah.
That is a super iconic bit. I was very mortified when it was finally able to climb out of the sewage over there.
I remember when I played that a couple of years ago, like that sequence. As soon as I hit it, that was like the main part in Silent Hill because you were watching me play it. It was the main part that Nico was like, "Oh, I love this bit." Like literally, that was the main area where Nico just was fully invested. And as I was playing it, he was like telling me everything he appreciated about that area. Rest of Silent Hill, he was like watching it, having a good time and stuff. But that specific sewer level, I'll always remember it just because Nico was like, "Oh, you'll love this bit." It was so excited for me to play it.
And the final one that I've got is now this is one I know there's a couple of people in the community that are watching at the moment that are currently going through a little game called Yakuza 0. This is a mild spoiler. Okay, come back in like 2 minutes or something. I'll make it short. But this is a mild spoiler. But there's a sequence in the game where Kiryu gets the main character in the game. He gets basically hunted down by the entire Yakuza, and he's in deep trouble. But in order to solve this, he needs to go from all the way outside of Kamurocho back into Kamurocho. But the way how he has to do that is he can't do that. Through the town? He will just get sniped down.
Yeah.
It's over for him. Like he will just get down immediately. So as a result, he has to go down into the sewages. And once he goes into the sewages, he gets greeted by one of the admirals that are after him. And he's on a motorbike with a lead pipe, and they go into an epic fight sequence.
He literally charges at him and just goes like, donk.
The music is so ridiculously good at that point, and you have all this tension build up from the story, and it's so ridiculously cool. It was like probably Rosie and I's like #1 pick for a very long time until we did a bit more research on it. But it's so ridiculously good.
Can I ask a question? And secondly, can you guys hear me okay? Because chat is saying I'm coming through quite weird on the Twitch side. But you can hear me okay, your side?
Maybe.
I can hear you.
I can hear you, but I don't know which microphone you're using, so...
I'm using the Wave 3.
The Wave 3.
You sound fine.
Yeah, okay, so it must be synced on Twitch's side. Anyway, to counteract Nico's argument, obviously you've spoke about this amazing moment there in Yakuza. With the motorbike, the lead pipe, the music and things. But did it being in a sewer matter? As in, like, is that what enhanced that scene, or could that scene been played in an office building and it would have been just as good?
So the thing that makes this scene so good in my head is like obviously the location makes sense because Kiryu cannot be overground. Now let's say hypothetically he's in the hallway or something. The fact that there's a bike somehow in the sewage is creepy enough and of itself, and that there's a light at the end of it because obviously sewer level, sewages have no light, so that creates this like ominous atmosphere where the bike itself creates the scenery.
Yeah,
that's one of the reasons why I think it works. And like I said, it's just an incredibly unusual location to have a fight over there. Yes, I had a couple more things to say about it, but I do believe that the abnormality of the situation, abnormality of it with a bike in that sequence that lights up the entire hallway is incredibly good.
It's just great in general as well because it's like I've seen the chat's been saying that it's got a brilliant cutscene before the fight actually happens in itself, and it is like a tough fight when you're actually doing it, but even after the sequence it's a big I guess character growth moment for Kiryu as well. Like it did feel like it's quite a significant part in a lot of Kiryu's beliefs and his attitudes towards, how everyone says that, Kiryu never kills anyone and stuff because, again, spoilers, but he doesn't kill this guy and the guy's just like, you're going to regret not killing me. And that's when Kiryu's just like, he just talks a bit more about that, I guess, saying it like as vague as possible. But I mean, with your question, Liam, I think it was quite interesting because I think the thing that I like then is because it's in a sewer, it's in a very confidential, confined location, and also, I don't want to say like a desperate location, but this is like Kiryu's only option. It's not as if he can just go into an office building and stuff like that, and then they can just find him. It's like he's gone into the sewers because this is his only option. Because I think everyone would avoid going into a sewer if they could. Like, we all know what goes into a sewer.
You say that, but they tend to do it a hell of a lot in games. They do going into any excuse to get in the sewer at some point in the game.
But like literally, you've got these two characters who are so determined for their goal that they just Kiryu's just escaping, and then you got Kuze coming in, and he's there like shirtless on a motorbike. Like we said, he is ready. He's there for a fight. He doesn't care where it is. He is there to fulfill his goal and defeat Kiryu. That's why literally it just feels like a manhunt in that sense, where no matter where Kiryu is, and like you said, the fact that he's so like desperate for it, he gets a whole motorbike under there and like the lights and stuff, it just adds to like the
I think based on how the bike is positioned and how Kiryu comes in and stuff, I think that it makes sense for it to be a long tunnel. I think that's definitely that we can Liam and I can both agree on. I just don't think we've convinced him why it had to be a sewer.
I mean, it could have been
to shoot myself in the foot. It could have also been like a rail track or
like a subway,
a subway or some sort of maintenance halls, under the city. Just that would have been fine as well. I like a good maintenance hall. Everyone loves a maintenance hall.
Liam's top 10 maintenance halls.
We picked the wrong topic.
There's lots of them in Cyberpunk. Lots of maintenance. No sewers, but lots of maintenance tunnels.
Is it not a sewer? It's
Is it not a sewer?
Nope.
That seems like a big Cyberpunk theme. Like a whole life underground.
No, there's no sewers. There's sewer entrances, but there's like little bits. There'll be like a tunnel to a sewer, but you can't progress any further. It's still open. You're just like, some homeless people are living there, or someone's tripping out and on a brain dance or something. But you can't actually go into the sewers as such. It's not a separate area or anything. You can't explore them.
That's really surprising. There's not like there's no sewer. That game's massive. I just thought there would.
I'm pretty sure there's no like sewers. There's one area that you maybe could count as a sewer where it's a bit of a gang hideout, but it's not a very big area.
Yeah.
So I don't think you could probably class it as a sewer level.
Yeah, it's
really.
It's just a clubhouse.
Yeah, basically, yeah. You kind of like, you go down to the waterfront, you go into like a little tunnel next to the waterfront, and I suppose you could class it as sewers, but it's not sewers in your traditional sense with that kind of brick like arch with like a little bit of water trailing down the middle and paths on each side like there usually is. And for some reason there's a gate on that side, but there's not a gate on that side, but there's a ladder on the side with no gate. And then there's no ladder on the side with a gate. And it's just, it makes sense. Yeah, it's silly. But yeah, I don't think there are any proper sewers in Cyberpunk, which is nice.
If there were sewers in Cyberpunk, how would you feel about them? Because I know
I would hate them just as much. But it depends what they look like. Like I said, there is one sewer level that I think is incredibly pretty out there in the gaming world, which I'll happily explore any day of the week. But it's also incredibly short.
I'm really excited to hear what the sewer level is.
Once you hear what it is, you'll be really disappointed. I've added so much suspense to it now, and it's a really boring answer. And you'll be like, oh yeah, I think we've already heard this before on a stream. Yeah.
What about you, Colton? Have you got a sewer level that you look? Because we're on the theme of ones we love at the moment.
Yeah. I don't know. Like for the most part, I wrote down Crash Team Racing as like one of the sewer levels. I was like, I thought it was very different from like any of the other topics. There's shortcuts. There's just, I don't know, a lot of sewery fun there. Obstacles to avoid. But
it's got that big shortcut in it as well. Like when you nail, you're like, oh, I did it, but when you don't, it's like,
yeah, it like puts you back a lot if you miss it, and it's Yeah, it's like it's a risk, but it's so worth it. I was really interested in your guys' Yakuza thing though. I haven't played those games, and I really want to
Oh.
play them. I've been like
Well,
I hear
well,
so much about them all the time, and
Well,
haven't.
if you were intrigued by that sewer sequence, boy, do I have news for you. Because most of these games have sewer sequences in their own way. I'm pretty sure that Yakuza 3 has it. No, Yakuza 4 has it, definitely.
they've all got
Yakuza
sections
5's
where you
got it.
go into a sewer for a little bit, even if it's to play
No,
a game
but
of
Yakuza 4
cards.
has a whole thing about it.
Yeah.
Remember? Right, that's all I'll say, because I know that people still want to play those games. 5 definitely got it because of that. And then you had Like a Dragon as well,
Yeah,
which is a
that's-
famous one for you.
Well, yeah. So a sewer level that I like adore, but I think I adore it just because I adore this game, and also I spent so many hours in this. I think I literally spent. I did the maths, and I think for grinding alone, I spent like a full-time job for two weeks in this sewer. And it's one in Yakuza Like a Dragon, and it's the perfect grinding spot for the game because there's one specific enemy that again, like you were saying earlier, Colton, like sewers hold like loads of materia and stuff like
Yeah.
that. This sewer is like you go through the route, and there are some enemies which are easy to kill, especially when you're grinding and you're getting a bit leveled up and OP and things like that. But there's loads of materials you can pick up, which at first I thought they were the only place I could get those materials until I realized I could just buy them in a shop above ground. That was annoying. But there's like one enemy in there, and it's considered, like the metal slimes in Dragon Quest, where they're really hard to get, but if you know how to get them, you can just start ranking up those XP points.
Okay, so
There's like
that's like the Like a Dragon one. I think is that what you said? I
Yeah,
forgot
so
what
in,
Yakuza game we were on.
Sorry,
I'm
this is Yakuza Like a Dragon. This is Yakuza Like a Dragon.
Okay.
Like literally, there's a sewer section like every Yakuza game. But for me, Yakuza Like a Dragon has that one sewer just because I spent so many hours grinding in it. And there was that one enemy that I knew exactly the best way to take him out and stuff. So literally, whenever I came to that fight, I would just target him first. Everyone else was just bonus XP, but I targeted him first. I got so much XP from it. And I would literally just go on loop in that sewer again and again and again. And the music in it was, I mean, I love the music in that game in general, but it was just a really sort of like good, relaxing track with a bit of like a sewer vibe in it. I don't know, it was hard to explain, but literally, I think Nico would come into the living room when I was playing at the time and would just see that sewer level. So
Yeah, pretty much. It's been all you've been doing for like 100 hours or something.
yeah, like literally when I
Ridiculous.
mentioned it, I was
It's
I'm going to talk
burned
about
into
that
the
sewer
screen.
level.
It's
Yeah.
like burned.
Just Ichiban
Oh.
running through the sewer.
This is like slightly off topic, but if I like, where should I start with those games? Like, if
the-
I was
the
gonna get
famous
into
question.
them.
It's super simple. Start with Yakuza 0
Okay.
and build your way up to Yakuza 6. And then once you beat Yakuza 6, come back with that question again. And then we'll answer that one. Because you'll have 7 games to beat first.
Okay.
It'll be sweet for years. So yeah, that's what I always say. To simplify it, 0 to 6. And then once you've done that, then we'll get into the more complicated era of it. But it's not as overwhelming as it seems. Start with 0,
Okay.
work from there.
Sounds
But
good.
I'd also argue because a lot of people now want to see what not be up to date with it, but there was like a point in the series where basically you had like Kiryu Saga, and now it's angling more towards Ichiban's saga with a bit of Kiryu in there. You'd appreciate Kiryu's side of the story in Ichiban Saga if you played the other ones, but I know many people who have started with Ichiban's first game, which is Yakuza Like a Dragon, which is the one that does like a turn-based RPG style. I know a lot of people who started there and they had just a greater time with it, and now they love the series. And like some people even went back then to do Kiryu Saga because they started there and they were like, I love this, I want more of it. So yeah, I'd say either Yakuza 0 or Yakuza Like a Dragon, depending on where you want to
I will say,
start.
big caveat as well. If you like the current games that are coming out, like if you like the idea of Infinite Wealth, if you like the idea of Pirate Yakuza, but you're like, oh, but I've got so many games to go through. Hot take, Yakuza 0 and 6, brilliant games. come to them back to them later. Start with Yakuza Like a Dragon and just go from there. There's no way in heaven you'll be catching up on that, and then have time for Infinite Wealth. It's going to take so much time. Just jump to the good bits where you want to. Yes, there will be story bits that'll make a little bit more sense, but truly, I don't think it harms the experience if you just jump into Like a Dragon and just go from there.
Okay, I'll consider that too, because I'm kind of interested for the pirate one. Like the pirate one really sold me on, on that. Sorry, that's way off topic, but I was just like, okay, I've been hearing about this series for such a long time, and I was like,
well, we adore this series, so literally we'll talk about it whenever. But in terms of sewer levels, I think we've mentioned our two main ones.
Yes,
personally for it.
I've got more things, questions about it, but yeah. About sewers, but we can talk about it in a bit.
That's fine. There is one I do want to talk about, though. That's just because at the moment in your chat, Colton, we got the Crash Bandicoot 1, aka Lee, and he says Peak Sewer was Rugrats, Spike was a legend. And I have to say, Lee, you're absolutely wrong. That is by far the worst level in Rugrats Search for Reptar. Literally, I made a note of it because I remember as a kid, I hated that. Spike, Colton, do you know this stage? Do you know Rugrats Search for Reptar?
I don't, but I will look it up real quick on my other monitor.
So the concept is, it's like in Rugrats Search for Reptar, you've got a bunch of mini games that you hop in, like you're running around your house, and when you find an item, like you can select it, and that'll take you into a mini game. And they are, I believe, they're based on like episodes from the Rugrats show as well. And
Just
this
found
is
this
one.
clip. This YouTube is not having a good time.
Oh,
sorry to interrupt, but the headline is Spike, please. That's the name of the episode. Spike, please.
Please. So what happens is you find a toy, and it's Cynthia from Angelica. Do you know Rugrats?
Yeah.
Colton.
Yes.
Yeah. So you find Cynthia, who is like Angelica's toy. But Cynthia goes missing. But Cynthia doesn't just go missing. I can't remember what happens in the actual episodes, but essentially, Spike the dog wants to help. And so he goes down into the sewers looking for Cynthia. And Spike, he, like his jumping mechanics, because he's like a dog rather than a human, when he jumps, so many times he will either like, if you don't jump at the right point, you know, PS1 days, like sometimes this just happened. But if you did not jump at the right point, he would just jump into the ledges, even though it's a ledge that's like, you know, let's say this is his paw and it's no bigger than like, you know, up to here or something. He would not jump over it and just go Arr! Like all the time because you can't angle that jump. And then, so not only does that happen, the game demands like platforming segments with it as well, that if you miss, then Spike will go into you know, like sewer acid, because you know in some games it's like, oh, the sewer water is basically acid and chemicals.
Yeah, who drops all the acid in these sewer levels? Who does that?
So
exactly.
It's a very Batman villain thing to do.
It literally is. And if you land in that, then Spike, bless him, is just like, ow, ow, like he just does that, but he gets caught in a loop, so you struggle to get out of it because, you know, when he's in the animation of, ow, I've been hit by something, and then you'll probably just end up dying. And even then, it's a labyrinth as well, so you have to find a way out of it. And if you get lost, then you can just be doing the same thing over and over again. And then when you finally get out of the sewers and basically arrive at some sort of skip, I think, or like a, you know, a dump site or something like that, Cynthia can spawn. I believe she can spawn in multiple different locations. So you're like, finally, I'm out the sewer. But then you've got to find Cynthia, which is a whole other labyrinth and trek in itself. I can't remember if she's always in the same spot. I just remember being a kid, because you don't have to do all the levels to finish the game. And this one was considered it was either a medium or a hard, but I remember as a kid, I always avoided it because I did not like it as a kid. My least favorite level.
From the pictures, I'm starting to see why you won't like that.
It's tragic, isn't it? It's absolutely tragic.
Is this a timer I'm seeing? Is there a timed, like?
Yes, there's a timer.
Why would they do that?
I think it's because you've got. I think it's because in the story, Angelica's out for the day, but you've got a certain amount of time to find Cynthia before Angelica realizes that Cynthia's missing.
Oh, okay.
So I think the idea is that Spike's got to find Cynthia before Angelica discovers that Cynthia's missing. I think, if that's from the top of my head,
That's I hate that. Just like, especially just knowing about the jumping mechanic now, I'd be so stressed.
The thing that I also find fascinating about sewer levels, right? There's always the weirdest things in it as well. Like, just I know it's a game, right? But there's sometimes you'll find things. I'm like, how? How is this even like humanly possible? Like,
yeah,
one of the ones that comes to mind immediately are the eels in Crash Bandicoot 2's Sewer or Later. It's like, why are there eels in this water?
Yeah.
Why are they electrocuting everything? And how is it that people make these paths in between these tunnels, but they don't connect them because there's eels and stuff in the water? It's ridiculous.
why are there
Or-
rolling toxic waste barrels in the
or-
middle of this sewer?
Why, if you go in Ape Escape, you need an RC car to drive under the rails to press the biggest button on the planet, but like this big of a button. If you don't know what it's like an arm size for the people who are listening, like an arm size worth of like the size of a button. And somehow this RC can do that, and then this giant pipe comes down. It connects to nothing, does nothing, just lifts you up. That's it. But you can't reach that because you need a propeller to get up there as well. And there are monkeys around there.
And there's monkeys in there.
And then the worst thing is, if you finish that, right, because you start in the park and you go in the sewage, I'm like, why is there sewage very close to the park? Hold up, right? And then you go in there, and then once you're done at the very end of that sewage, when you've swum all the way through it, you come out of the park where people hang out with their pets and whatsoever, and kids, and I'm like, how is this even a good, like,
This
remotely
child
good
just
town?
comes out from the sewers, like smelling of sewage, and
And they
everyone's just
drop
like,
all these pipes down, you know, the barrels they fall down,
Yeah.
the blue and the green ones. And
Yeah.
it's like, what is this maintenance? It makes no sense. So that's another thing with sewer levels. They just don't make any sense. Like, what is even the purpose of them? Right? Like, Yakuza ones makes kind of sense. And then there's a whole red light district underneath it in Kiwami.
oh
It's like,
yeah,
no.
why is that a thing?
Yeah.
Why is that a thing?
Yeah.
that's because
You know,
it's a
when I
secret.
think of sexy, you know, the word that goes with it is sewage, right? That's what you want.
I don't think there's a Febreze on this planet strong enough to remove the odor.
From the sewer.
They've been building it
Oh.
for a long time.
I did want to throw out a question which you reminded me of too. What are the weirdest creatures you've ran into in sewer levels in games? What do
I
you
think I've already
Ooh.
kind of gave my answer. Oh, I think I know one, but go ahead.
No, you go. I'm gonna.
So in Resident Evil 2 remake, there's a lot of weird sewage monsters in that one
Yeah.
that you have to solve in a weird way as well. Especially in Resident Evil 3's remake, we have these weird like fishes with 2 legs, and they got this giant mouth that like claps open. It's like, how is this even like happening on the town? Like, how is this monster like so quickly grown out of that? So yeah, that's probably like the weirdest thing I have seen. Was it in a video game?
Yeah, Resident Evil's got some great horrible monsters and sewers.
Yeah.
One for me, I think. Again, I could be wrong. Chat, please correct me if I'm wrong. But I was trying to remember if this was a thing, and I think this happens. But in Dark Souls, you've got a level called the Depth. And the Depth is like a very sewer-looking level. And you get, you know, your horrible giant rats in boxes and stuff. But I think this is the area where they introduce these weird frog creatures with massive eyes, which I believe they then brought back in Elden Ring. But either way, I just remember being in like the Depths, and this is where these, I believe I first met these like lizardy frog creatures with giant eyes, and they're really quick, they're really aggressive, and they do this like spray breath attack, which is like a status. I can't believe it. I think it might be like death blight or something like that. But
Kira's
that's
just
probably...
put in the Stonemakers. Is that any reference?
Or is it the it might be the basilisks. I think it's the basilisks. Basilisks is what I'm thinking of. But yeah, Nico's just looking up
keep it up,
it
keep
for
it
me
up.
now. But it's curse. It's curse. That's the status
Just
effect.
keep it up.
But yeah, they were just horrible, weird creatures. And you know, when you're in the sewer, you expect that's what they are. That's what they are. And you expect to see like the rats and stuff like that. And the jump scare comes out of a box. But the basilisks, I remember being like, oh, what is this? This is a weird thing. weird thing.
I thought it was funny how Dark Souls' answer was like, "You have seen rats, but have you seen big rats? But have you seen bigger rats?" I love their logic where they just kept making the rat bigger, and that was it.
And then have you seen frog with
Have you
big
seen-
eyes?
Have you seen frog?
frog?
Yeah.
The eyes make everything creepier too. Like my creepy creature. I don't even remember what it's called, but there were just like Resident Evil 2 is like the only Resident Evil I've played. But they had these big eyeball like walls and creatures, and I hated it. I'm such a wimp with horror games. But
Is this in the remake specifically?
yeah, yes,
Yeah.
yeah. Like
Yeah, we know exactly which ones you mean. And then in did you do the Survivor run as well?
I didn't. I barely like. I'm a wimp with horror. I'm not a horror game person. But Resident Evil's 2 story, I was able to push through it because the story was so interesting, and I think that's what I need with a horror game if I'm gonna go into it. Like it's just a story that I can push through. And then as soon as I went down into the sewers, it got a little creepier from there. But I had like a blast with that game still. It was awesome.
It's a good one to. If you've only played one Resident Evil 2 is a good one to have played.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You've just reminded me of a brilliant creature in a sewer in Resident Evil 2 remake, the giant blooming crocodile. That's
Oh,
just
yeah.
But that's the weirdest thing. Easily takes the cake.
Yeah.
That
do.
easily takes the cake. But it's like the thing is, right, with Resident Evil, right, you got these weird, creepy monsters, right? These tentacles and the mouse and mouse, right? This is just a giant crocodile.
Yeah.
How do we justify this? How do we go from a thing to a crocodile and then it's it's giant as well?
Yeah.
Sorry for taking your thunder.
No,
I
no,
was
it's not,
just
like-
baffled. Like, and it's like, why is it like a cool thing? Like, I don't know, it has wings or something, or it spews fire or whatever. It does none of it. It's
And
just
Leon's
a
so
giant
cool
crocodile.
about it. He's just like, well, that was a giant. We take that ugly or something, you know, when he destroys it. He's so calm about it because he said so much nonsense on his first day on the job.
Yeah.
But literally, I just love the idea that somehow in Raccoon City there is now a giant crocodile just in the sewers, like under this
Is that not-
city.
Is that not a Florida thing? I could be completely wrong. I'm
that's-
so sorry. They're like sewage crocodiles or something.
Really?
Sewer crocodiles.
There's
I've
just
heard of this.
crocodiles in Florida. Just
Yeah.
they're
I've heard of the
they're
term
not.
sewer crocodiles.
They are on land too. They're
everywhere.
They're everywhere.
They do not care.
Yeah.
But no, the monsters you were talking about when you're doing because they're really tough as well to defeat. I remember that. And when you're doing the Survivor run, and it's basically like a time trial when you have to get from the sewers to the front to the front gate of RPD or something like that. I can't fully remember. But you have a moment where there are literally like two of those massive monsters you're talking about, Colton,
Yeah.
and they both like come at you, and you've only got certain items, so you fully have to plan like how you're going to avoid them. Because once those guys grab you, that's it. You can just be caught in them, and then it's a really long animation, and you're like health depleted.
Gone.
Yeah, they're a real pain. They're a real pain.
Oh, it's just. I really like. I'm guessing Resident Evil 3 also has these type of sewer levels too.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so Resi 3's got them as well, and in the remake, that's where it's a shorter section in Resident Evil 3 remake, but that's where they introduced the Hunter Gammas, I believe, and they are like these massive, like
Anthropomorphic reptilian creatures.
yeah, reptilian creatures. But literally, you know, like in a sewer, you've stereotypically got like, let's say, a tunnel or something, like for the size of the sewer.
Yeah.
These creatures take up the whole tunnel size. Like they are huge and big. And when you know how to get rid of them, it's literally like 1 or 2 shots and they're down. But if you don't know how to get rid of them and you're trying to get, I think their weak spots in their like mouth or something when they open it.
Oh, those are the ones I was referring to.
Yeah,
like the
so-
frog
'cause-
things.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
like
it's like,
frogs. Yeah.
yeah, so they've got to like go to attack you first in order for you to see their weak spot. But yeah, they're just these massive, horrible creatures. And then I think Nico reminded me, but I think that in the original Resident Evil 3 on PS1, they had giant spiders.
The fuzziest spiders you will ever find on the PS1.
And they
And
were-
that includes Spider the video game.
Ugh. And they, I mean, as someone who doesn't like spiders, the spiders in just, let's just say in the Resident Evil games on PS1 terrify
It's a
me.
delight to see Rosie play them. I'll say that
Oh,
much.
I hate them.
love seeing Rosie play them because the thing what the spiders do is like if I have to reenact them with my hand, they kind of like they just move around like this,
Okay.
and sometimes they go like, and they go.
Yeah,
And it's so good.
And then
to see when they go
sometimes-
when they do that, it sees Rosie go.
Yeah, and
It's so
sometimes
good.
like they'll just be shuffling, and then you see like their little arms just go, "Ring," and then when they go up, they go like straight for you, like charging at you. Like I couldn't believe it.
You know when like in Dragon Ball they speed and go like that, like that's full of what the spiders does go like that's
Oh,
how
it's horrible. I hate
I
them.
love that. Liam, do you have a favorite suit, or at least favorite?
Honestly, I was actually having a good old think. I was even doing some researching as well to try and think of any kind of creatures or anything that's I could find. And there's really nothing I can really think of, unfortunately. I'm sorry to be the dull one
that's
here.
no, that's
It's
okay.
literally just a hatred of sewers, but it did lead me down a bit of a rabbit hole. One thing I found some really freaky creatures living in real sewers, which is nothing to do with video games, but I'm just like, why am I looking at this? Get away. But then I started looking about obviously I know about Final Fantasy 7 and Final Fantasy 8 sewers. I was like, does Final Fantasy 9 have any sewer levels? And it does. And it's absolutely stunning. So there's actually 2 sewer levels that I absolutely adore now.
Okay.
It's in the city of Bermesia. You're not in there very long, but you're technically in a sewer level. It's basically when Bermesia gets attacked. They're like the rat people, and you have to fight a big serpent. There, if you remember.
Oh God, I'm trying to remember. Hang on,
Yeah,
let me.
it's
I'm
really
looking it up
darn-
too.
It's really darn pretty.
Bermesia.
I think it's Bermesia. I think that's the town
Yeah.
where the rat
Rose.
people live. The one that's always raining.
Oh, that fight! Oh my gosh!
Yeah, you're not in there very long, but it counts as a sewer level. You're in the sewers.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay. 2 random words has put it in what it's actually called, which I'm not going to pronounce because I will get that wrong.
But
just
everyone in the
before
chat seems to
Bermesia.
know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That was a threatening auras to me of those words, yeah. Yeah, what is it? I've got a couple of also like an iconic one from my youth in sewer levels, and it's actually in a place you wouldn't expect it. It's Sonic Adventure 1, and when you are at the casino level, you need to basically, for some reason, Sonic cannot reach the top of this giant tank, and at the top is the emblem that he needs to get. But in order to get there, what he needs to do, this is absolute moon logic, he needs to collect as many rings as he can in the casino so he can stack it all up, so he can create a staircase to get up there, and then once he's up there, he can grab the emblem. So in order to do that, you have to go in the casino and make as many rings as you possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
One of the games you can do is a pinball mechanic. So you have these like wonderful like Nights into Dreams and Sonic themed pinball machines. But then once you are done with that level, because obviously you can only do that 3 times until you lose a life, it just cuts you to Sonic dropping all the way down to the casino in a sewage level, and then you have to climb your way all the way back out.
Right.
So that is how they kind of like Sonic gets dropped into it, and it has all these like wind tunnels and stuff in it. And the water is gross. You feel disgusting in there. There's so many spiked balls as well that could just knock anyone like 5 feet and above out and stuff. It's ridiculous. And yeah, that's that level. So they found a way to put a sewer level in a casino out of all places in a Sonic game, with the logic of, well, if you lose a life, then you're going to just be dropped there as a punishment. Sorry, you're going to have to just climb your way out of it again.
It's like, good luck. Good luck. And they just throw you there. I love that.
Good luck, Sonic. Have fun in the sewers.
Whilst I say this as well, I want to say as well, for anyone who's listening at the moment, I genuinely believe, like as Liam said, there's way too many sewer levels in games. In fact, go grab your top 10 video games, or top 5 even. I'm not sure if I want to go top 5, but definitely top 10. Any of those games will have it in your top 10. There will be a sewer level in it.
At least one sewer level in that top 10.
Yeah. I've tried it with a couple of mutuals. I was like, oh, I know that they love this game. They love that game. And I'm like, yeah, sewer level in that one. Yep, sewer level in that one. It happens so often in games.
Well, even then, you reminded me of because again, when we were talking about the just sewer levels and stuff, one of my favorite games of all time is Sly Cooper 3. I love that game to pieces. And there's actually, Nika reminded me that there are 2 sewer levels in that game. One of them is definitely not as enjoyable. There's one when you're on a boat and you have to like avoid mines and things like that, which are just, coincidentally in a sewer. But there's another one in like early on in the game, and it's actually a lot of fun because it's got some in Sly Cooper style, you've got your thieving around, you've got some fun platforming and sneaking around. But like it's got some really fun, like with the Cooper cane, you like grapple onto some pipes and then you have to sneak around, and there's security lasers, so you have to time your sneaking up against a wall, and you hear Sly being like dum 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 dum. Like it's got really cool moments like that. It's got a fun little mechanic where in between these sections you have to do like a button sync with Bentley, and then you have to press the button at the same time, and then you got a big epic fight at the end of the section where you're just fighting hordes of enemies and stuff. It's like that one, I completely forgot about it, but I've played it so often I forget it's a sewer level.
Yeah.
To me, it's just part of a mission, and it wasn't until you singled it out I was like, oh my god, you're right. They are in a sewer. This really fun section is in a sewer. You're right. So that's one that I was like, oh my god, my favorite game has a sewer in it.
I'm
See,
now
like-
looking into. Someone has said there's no sewer level in Mass Effect, and I'm pretty sure there is.
I feel like there has to be in the whole
That's
trilogy.
the thing.
Yeah.
You nailed it. There has to be one. That's what I mean.
think-
It's so integrated in games that people assume it's there at this point. It's that like when Liam pointed it out, it's like a door opened in my mind. I was like, I can't believe it. There's genuinely like almost every game has it for some reason.
I've got it. It's in the it's a mission called Arrival. Rescue Dr. Kenson. It's not your traditional sewer level, but there are pipes. There's monkey water. There's it's obviously it's Mass Effect. It's sci-fi.
that
It's
one.
futuristic.
It's a space sewer.
No.
it's
It's a
This
space
is,
sewer. The sewer
this
in
is,
space.
I think it's Mass Effect 2. So yeah,
Oh,
there's a space sewer. Exactly that. Sorry, yeah, I was very distracted. Exactly that. But it is definitely a sewer. There's no doubt about it. There's pipes and there's stupid wheels you have to just turn like this all the time. And for some reason, there's this really annoying mechanic in games where they make you turn it really slowly, and you got to press it again, over and over again, just to be even more annoying.
I also got a story about sewer levels. So it's no secret that Liam doesn't like them at all. In fact, I remember this, Liam. This was for I think it was Resident Evil 3 specifically. So what we did as a donation incentive for a charity event called Game Blast, we said, okay, we're gonna try to get the platinum for Resident Evil 3. And what I had to do, I had to grind. I did most of that game, and an in between sequence I did not do on camera. And that was the sewer sequence. So Liam basically dodged that one because I said, no, I have to stream this with Liam because I needed a co-host for that one. I was like, there's no way Liam was going to be there. In fact, I think even on the Resident Evil 2 stream we did, you'll see when we do the sewer bit that Liam just like ducks. He's just out.
Yeah, he's just like, no,
And
I'm
then
out.
goes away to the bathroom, makes a sandwich, whatever. Like he's just like, I'm out, I'm done.
It's funny as well. I see we got Richie92 in the chat at the moment, and I know that one of Richie's favorite games, if not his favorite game of all time, is Resi 2, and literally just says, didn't have to think far into my top 5 Resident Evil 2. Like he didn't have to think far because I know it's got a sewer.
Colton, dare I ask, is in your top 10, is there a sewer level in any of the games? You like quickly like scroll through you like typical like old phone book stuff in your head like
man, I mean, Last of Us is up there, and I don't know. There's sewer levels in Last.
Yeah.
There's definitely sewer.
flooding.
Yeah,
There's definitely flooding.
that whole world can look like a sewer at some points, but so it's kind of hard to remember if like is that a sewer or is that just like a really overgrown damp tunnel? I guess if that's
I know what you mean. though,
You've
'cause
got a
actually-
lot of like drainage systems
Yeah.
in The Last of Us. Rather than actual like sewers, you're going through like a drainage tunnel or something, like a flood tunnel.
yeah.
It's not really a sewer as such, but I'm pretty sure there is a sewer. There's got to be
There's
in
gotta-
The Last of Us.
There's no way there's not.
Yeah, in chapter 6 there's one.
Okay.
The suburb sewers is what it's called. It's in the name.
Oh yeah. Is that the That's the place where the people. That's a really sad part, isn't it?
I mean, it's Last of
Yeah.
Us.
Yeah,
I don't think
literally,
it's a
it's
happy
like-
part.
Sad, but yes, yeah.
Imagine that in The Last of Us if they were like, actually, the happiest part in the game is when you're in the sewers. You know, everything is great in the sewers. That's the best chapter because nothing sad happens. It's a lovely chapter.
It's just an
the
adventure. They're
part-
just having fun.
I think you would. Yeah, exactly. It's having a nice time.
Nothing
Just,
sad happens.
There's
yeah,
so-
they're just so
There's so much treasure down there. You're having a blast.
treasure. You can sit at a camp and cook a delicious steak.
We also got to thank some particular games for making sewer levels in everyone's top 10s. Like Final Fantasy VII Remake,
Yes.
shout out to that one. Persona 5 as well. Where there's the whole underground sequence. So that's another one. Shout outs to that one for making that one cleared out.
Mr.
Yeah.
James even says Ratchet and Clank has multiple sewer levels as well, and I believe it does, doesn't it?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely.
So
Uh,
I thought back about where my hatred of sewer level come from. So there's got to be something. There's always an origin story to everything, isn't there? So one of my earliest gaming memories I have is playing a game called Dark Forces. It's a Star Wars game. It's basically a Doom clone with a Star Wars skin. So the first level, really cool. You're on an Imperial space station, and you're stealing the Death Star plans. And there's stormtroopers. There's the weird, funky Star Wars lights that you have everywhere all over the Imperial. If you've watched Star Wars, the Imperial lights they have. It's really cool, really amazing. Second one, you've landed on this planet, and it's a bit of an outpost for the Empire, and you're still killing things like that, and it's really good fun. Third level, sewer maze. And that's it. Sewer maze and monsters. That's all there is. In the third level. And it's this is a 90s game, so it's not pretty. And it's a maze. And you got to think I was a very young lad when I played this game, not understanding mazes and things like that. I was happy shooting Imperials, but trying to do a maze at the age of 8, it's not going to happen. So I think that's where it will come from. And if anyone looks up it's Mission 3, by the way, if you want to look it up at home, Dark Forces Mission 3. It's
Dark
very
Forces.
ugly. It's very ugly. Yeah, Star Wars Dark Forces Mission 3.
Dark Forces, Mission.
Yeah, look up the
3.
original as well. It has been remastered recently, which makes it look a little bit prettier, but it's pretty horrific.
It kind of gives off a old school Doom vibe, right?
It does
Yeah,
give off
it's a
big
Doom
old-
clone.
These monsters look fun though. I see one monster and he's just, he's got
got
a big
the-
mouth.
Well, you've got the monster that's in Star Wars Episode 4, the one that's in the trash compactor.
Yeah,
thing that's
the
poking him with
eyeball.
the eye.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's your main enemy in that. He's just hanging out in the sewers with you the whole time. It's pretty rough level. It's a pretty horrible level. The remaster, they did a really nice job making it look a bit prettier, but the original one from the 90s, it's tough. It's a tough one to get.
Oh yeah, they smoothed it out a lot. I'm seeing 2 different images there. Oh wow.
Yeah, 2 random words says those sewers are terrifying.
So there's a bit in it. So mostly it's a bit of platforming, it's killing monsters, but there's one bit where there's this kind of sewage flow system, and you've got to go in there and you've got to choose paths, left or right. And if you choose the wrong one, it will take you back to the beginning again. Choose the right one, it will go forward. So that's the kind of maze element of it. Very frustrating as a kid to do that. It wasn't fun.
I could see that being frustrating now. Honestly,
Yeah.
It sounds a lot like finding Cynthia in Rugrats.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, Liam as well. Do you want to because I was thinking about sewer levels, and Nika reminded me of one which actually we did on Buddy Games and we experienced it together for the first time. Do you remember the point we probably got the most stuck on, apart from the final boss, in Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance? And there was, Metal Gear Rising, the one with Raiden.
Yeah.
And there was a section where, so when you're playing a game on a stream, you play it once a week and stuff, so you're trying to remember the controls. And there's a sewer level.
Oh God, yes. Oh.
And you remember how stuck we were on that level, because that's when they
There's a big
introduced
robot boss or something, wasn't there? Yeah.
They introduced these 2 really strong big robot sort of.
There
I
is
can't
with the
remember
big
what they
arm.
were.
He's got a big arm. Yes,
With the
the
big
big
arms.
ape robots, or whatever they're called.
Yeah, and literally, I remember we were stuck. Well, I was stuck on that because you weren't playing it, but I was stuck on it for ages and getting really frustrated with it. And literally, when Nico was just like, oh, there's a sewer section in this, I immediately remembered those two enemies. I was like, oh god,
Oh no! Oh no!
yeah,
Just
feeling
looked it
like
up.
flashbacks. I was like, no.
And another annoying sewer level that comes to mind is Nightmare Creatures. There is a in the PS1 game Nightmare Creatures. I saw streamer Luna Mothwings play that one, and she was trying to have to do like platforming in that game. But what's ridiculous about that game is that it's just not a game that's made for platforming in mind. So these jumps, they are ridiculously long, and she keeps just falling in the water as a result. It's very like irresponsive, unresponsive, not irresponsive. It is still irresponsive, but unresponsive.
It was
nonetheless.
irresponsible of them to do.
Yeah.
And what happened is that she was just constantly like game over because of it, and it looked so aggravating. Like, oh come on, she's doing so well in that level. Why does she keep dying in it? So yeah, it just keeps happening with sewer levels that they're so annoying. It's almost like as if you're like, if you want to make a game that is not annoying, just don't do sewer levels. Just look up. That's it.
Just
you know what I
look
mean?
up, stay above ground.
Exactly.
I can't think of a specific example as well, but I swear there's so many sewer levels as well when they've got not only like tight platforming, like jumping on, a floating box that's in the sewage water and stuff.
Yeah,
But
why is
also,
the sewer so deep?
but
How
I
does it
also
even happen?
remember, like, if you're running on a path, it's literally like you're running on a path and everything's on like a right angle because, in sewers, the aesthetic is like kind of like weird junctions and stuff. I can't think of a specific example, but I swear there's a sewer level where literally it's like you run up to the edge and literally you just have to do like 90 degrees to turn right in order to carry on. It's not just like this is a smooth process. It's like, oh god, I have to make sure I navigate the sewer. I can't think of the exact example. Maybe I'm just talking about sewers in general at this point.
Yeah, they just,
but it just
all the turns there. I was
all
like,
the sharp turns.
I feel like that's very true with like older school games too. Like I'm actually looking at Nightmare Creatures right now. And
oh, it's awful. It's not the game, but like that level is awful. It's easily one of the worst ones.
There's this boss fight that like the first thing that popped up when I just like Nightmare Creature Sewers, and it looks like this Hydra thing, like almost like a Hydra mixed with Venom, like,
yeah, pretty much.
I looked at straight away. It's some weird kind of there's like 5-headed snake thing coming out of a well. Just shooting fire at everyone. It sounds really fun.
I know. I'm kind of interested. I've been writing down like all these games. I'm like, there's so much I gotta play.
Oh, honestly, there's so many video games in the world.
Yeah, I'll never get through a backlog ever.
Going back to your original question about creatures and sewers, I believe it's Final Fantasy 7, but might be Final Fantasy 8. But it's when you first get to the sewer, you are immediately stuck with a boss. And it's I think it's like a big rat creature, and it does a move called Tidal Wave against you.
That's
which is
7.
Really, it's 7, is it? Yeah, that one really sticks out. I mean, I think that's a really, really cool enemy for that area because it is like a big like sewer creature. It's using the sewer water as its main weapon against you, its main attack. So that's cool. That's a cool enemy. I like that one. Well done.
I did love that fight so much. I think it's one of my top fights in that game too. Just it's so fun.
It's a good one.
It's a good one. 2 random words. I mean, we've got loads of people in the chat who's chatting away. Rosa really likes your idea of a sewer level in the sky, Nico, and says Bioshock Infinite 2.
Yeah.
But for Liam, one for you. 2 random words says you go into a sewer in Broken Sword 2.
Wow.
And I was also thinking that because at the beginning of the game, you do go into a sewer for a little bit, and that's when you find like the clown nose, isn't it?
I just want to. I think now is the time to reveal my favorite sewer level in a video game.
Oh my god!
Drum roll.
It's Broken Swords. Yeah, 2 random words that's brought it up there. Yeah, Broken Sword sewer level is one of my favorite sewers in games. I think it's incredibly pretty. It's well drawn. It's nice and short. It's not a puzzle as such. You just go down there for your investigation because that's where the murderer went down. And you just collect a bit of evidence and you come back up again. Everyone references the fact that you stink because you've been in a sewer. Everyone references the things you collect in that sewer are gross because you collected them in a sewer. It makes sense in the world you're in. And also, they reference it later in the game as well, without spoiling too much, that there's a police officer you meet that's trying to find this tourist criminal that keeps on breaking into the sewers around Paris. When really it's your character that's been doing it by your investigation, which is just fantastic. So the Broken Sword, and I want to say the original, not the reforged version, even though it's very pretty what they did with reforged, but the original version from 1994, whenever it came out, that version of the sewer, the way it was drawn, the light coming in, this weird kind of like old Paris architecture underneath it is absolutely stunning. So that is that's my favorite sewer level of all time, and I'm always happy to go down there whenever I need to.
Just pop
So
down there, pick up a nose, pick up a bit of cloth or something, and get out of there, and then talk to the person working in the.
Nice and short. And you go down to a couple sewers, admittedly, but yeah, they're all pretty much very similar.
That is an extremely pretty sewer.
It's really nice. Yeah.
It's a weird sentence, but yeah, it's really pretty. I do want to throw out a question I just saw up here too. It said for the Parappa super fans. Do they think the toilet rap is technically a sewer level?
No.
So I technically wouldn't, because Parappa doesn't go into the sewer. He just really needs the toilet.
Okay.
And yeah, so the toilet rap is when Parappa's like queuing up to go to the toilet. We never see what goes past Parappa, going to the toilet or anything like that.
I'm just like, can you really say you went to Disneyland and when you stand at the entrance gate? Can you really say you've been to Disney then?
It's like
That's
going
how I feel about it.
just going to downtown Disney, like it's not really Disneyland, it's next to it.
Yeah, like yeah, no, I mean I love that rap. I love it very much, but literally the most you see is when Parappa doesn't make it to the toilet if you fail the rap, and then you just see like his guts just be like and like as if to basically be like, oh no, Parappa's he didn't reach the toilet in
Parappa may have
time.
had a Parappa.
Awful.
Nico,
Awful.
after 8 p.m. after 9 p.m. Nico
It's no swear words. We've talked about this. It's okay.
Oh
It's
man.
okay.
So personally I wouldn't consider that a sewer level, but still I love Parappa and it's a great rap. Love that rap.
I feel like we have to say this just to make sure your vault won't get like spammed with like, where's this game? Because I know this one is very popular. But Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4, Turtles in Time.
We have to talk
Mounts
about the
quite-
turtles.
Yeah, I was
They
like, you
gotta
have
pop up.
you have to mention. I'm so sorry. The channel will get cancelled. It is over. We cannot we will go with it. It's like a black hole. Well, it's like everyone just gets drawn into like this. Like, why didn't they mention the sewer serving level? Yes. So I think it's the second or the third level in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4, which is an arcade brawler. So I think Streets of Rage, Final Fight, Tekken Fight Force, if you need that reference as a PlayStation gamer. It's kind of like that. And what happens is the Turtles, which by the way, it's 4-player co-op, which is amazing. That's exactly what you want in Ninja Turtles. You go on these surfboards, and then you surf through the sewer sequence. So it's like this on-grid, like when you're on a train or on a plane in these fighters, and you basically just beat up all these like Foot Clan ninjas as a result. And it has iconic music, great graphics as well. It's actually, I think, very colorful sewer sequence. So feel free to look that one up, Liam. And what is it? Great, like I said, great graphics, great music. It's just a very iconic sequence in that game that everyone remembers, and probably also one of the most famous sewer levels as a result. It's probably just not really mentioned right now because that's like the one thing everyone would mention over here.
It's
But
the turtles.
yeah, but I felt like it's probably worth saying, just in case you get the one person that's like, where is it?
Where are the turtles?
Are you a Turtles fan, Colton? Do you like the Turtles?
I do like the turtles. I haven't really played many of their video games either, but I do like the Ninja Turtles.
I do like them.
It is very pretty, Nico. I'm just looking it up.
It's hard not to like the turtles.
There's not a single brown, color.
Exactly, and the music is fantastic in that level as well. Very drum, like and stuff. It's very good.
But
But yeah, I felt like it had to be mentioned.
yeah, I know.
That most people gonna question that one.
Liam, are you listening to it? I see your head like
Yeah.
bopping.
It's a great game.
They
It needs to
ruined
come
it
to
though
more
by adding some
platforms.
weird downward spike thing though. But apart from that, yeah, it's really cool.
They've ruined it. They ruined it by adding an obstacle in this
Yeah.
sewer level on
Yeah,
a video
just
game.
just surf around and fight enemies. It's no problem. Absolutely fine.
What doesn't help either, Liam, with sewer levels is sometimes they also really like putting a sewer level as a almost like a literal, physical, and metaphorical way of like pulling the character down. Like Chrono Trigger does that, where you're already like on your last leg and things aren't really looking so well. So you, as a result, have to go into the sewer level sequence
Mm.
in order to kind of like regain yourself in another part of the game.
Yeah.
So it's like I bet that's also a thing where it's like, oh no, I've been stripped down from all my items. I'm in a tiff with all the characters on screen in the game, and you now drop me in a sewer level. Really? Like that's just like beating a man when he's down, right? Down in the sewers.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like that might also be like an element of like, oh no, really? This is what you're giving me now after all of this?
Like they do that with Final Fantasy 7, don't they? They kind of
Yeah,
like
Don
chuck you in
Corneo
after
drops you.
you're about to do something amazing. You finally get in there, and they're like,
no,
it's all gone wrong, and you've literally
Yeah.
jumped in the sewers.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It always ends up being like negative at the same time. There's not a positive energy around it. Like, yeah, we're going through sewers, everyone.
even
Yeah.
I don't know why. Oh, sorry, Colton, you carry on.
I was just gonna say, even in like horror games, honestly, like I feel like they put you in sewers because like claustrophobia, where you get like
Yeah.
it's just that sense of dread all through it, and
It's also icky.
It's good. Yeah, it's icky.
Yeah, it's icky, like poisonous. Whatever lives under the streets, right? Like you're gonna get that vibe.
There's so much uncertainty around what's in the sewer, and it's just great storytelling. It's like using the environment to tell the story. It's great. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I don't know why, Nika, but when you were talking about like how you were always dropped in the sewer as like a negative thing, I don't know why, but it reminded me of the scene in Ratatouille when Remy's running and then he like stumbles back into the sewer, and then he's like, I waited for a sound or a call or something. He's just alone in the sewer. And I've never played the PS2 or the Ratatouille video game, but if anyone in the chat has, is there a sewer level in that? Because I feel like there should be a sewer level in Ratatouille, since the film does have sewers in it. Like,
Look
and
that up right
I bet they can have some.
I've never played. I'm sorry.
I haven't played it, but I'm hoping they've got some fun activities in that one. I really want to play it now just to find out. And I'll be like, Liam, look, it's a fun sewer level, maybe.
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 You haven't actually checked it out yet.
Okay,
Yeah, I haven't checked it out yet, and I haven't seen it. I'm just guessing.
there is a sewer level for sure. I'm looking at it right now.
Is it? Yes! We got another one, lads.
It looks pretty bright and vibrant. It's still, sewery, but there's like dartboards and stuff on it. It's neat.
Dartboards in the sewer?
Yeah. Everyone's just throwing their trash down there, I guess.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Best time for Remy. I found some dartboards in the sewer.
It's a very open, like, if you look at it, it's a very open sewer area too. It's interesting.
Oh my god! Again, like they had a movie tie-in video game for Flushed Away. I bet that entire game
is a sewer. Yeah.
Because the entire film is based in sewage.
Imagine if you had a clean track record with your top 10. You're like, oh, Balatro doesn't have a sewer level in it. Cuphead doesn't have a sewer level in it. Dang it! Flushed Away is on my list. Number 10 on my list. I knew it.
Damn it! Flushed Away.
Yeah. Fault.
Okay. So we are getting very close to the end of our time. We're like an hour 16 in right now. I just want to throw out like last thoughts, last topic, give you guys a chance to say your piece of sewer levels.
I did a Teenage Ninja Turtles one. I'm good. That's all I wanted to say.
I've got nothing more to add really. I think we've talked about all my iconic sewer levels. I'm just having another look through my list, but
I've just gone to Reddit and I found my people from 6 years ago. Whitman, 1938. let's talk sewer levels, guys. Sewer levels are pretty crappy, literally. They are the bane of many gamers' experience because of their bland, uninteresting look and how most are composed of long corridors or maze-like level structures. Not to mention the annoying toxic sludge that manages that damage you if you walk through it. But he wants to know what everyone's favourite sewer levels are. So I've got a couple here that have been mentioned already. So RPGs, no, don't like them at all. People like Diablo 2, Act 2. I haven't played the game, but chat, you might know of it. And you're like, yeah, that's bloody good, that one. Mirror's Edge is another fantastic one.
Ooh.
Hollow Knight, apparently everyone's loving the Hollow Knight one. Deus Ex and Half-Life. Half-Life was brought up by Nico earlier. So yeah, there's a couple more there, which is really fun. See, someone here does actually like the Final Fantasy 8 ones, but that's not for anyone. Oh, Mass Effect 3 had a sewer escape sequence.
Oh.
Did it?
Did
Are we
it?
talking about the big ladder? Is that a sewage?
Literally, we played Mass Effect 3 last year.
No,
and I
sorry,
don't-
no, not Mass Effect. Sorry, Metal Gear Solid 3.
Oh.
I couldn't find a way to screw it in, but it's indeed like when you escape the army and you have this music go doom doom doom.
Oh my god,
Yeah,
yes!
and he jumps off of the waterfall. I
Yeah.
think it was Kojima just trying to find a way to put GoldenEye in his game.
Yeah.
It's just like, why didn't he just like parachute or something, or try to
Yeah.
hide around a corner or something? He just went straight in.
I forgot about
Yeah, he
that.
just broke his arm. He can't do that again.
Again, top 10 game with a sewer section in it.
See,
Mhm.
Naked Snake broke his arm, and that was cool. Okay, why do I get all the slack when I fell off my bike? Anyway, very specific reference.
Also, I just want to bring out one last thing where sewer levels were used in a really annoying way, and that's Fallout 3. So, Washington, D.C. is the big city in Fallout 3. It's in ruins from the nuclear fallout that happened 200 odd years before that. So, Washington, D.C. in that game is a bit of a maze. You can't just walk, the streets and get to wherever you need to because there's buildings falling over, there's rubble, and you have to use the sewer system underground to navigate the city, which is one of the most frustrating. Oh, it's not a sewer; it's a subway. We'll let them off, but still, very frustrating mechanic. It is a subway system, though, not a sewer system. So I'll let them off then. Fine, they win. They win this day.
And with that, Liam's argument went completely out the window for his
Yeah.
final point.
It did. Uncharted 2 opening has a great sewer level, and so did
Oh, that
Uncharted 3.
does!
Yeah, it
Yes!
does, yeah.
Oh my god, we missed that one. That's got a
There's-
great one.
And there's a Jack and Dexter Easter egg in there.
There is.
Yeah. Ooh.
So yeah, so apparently there's people on Reddit that agree with me, so that's where I'm going to spend most of my time now. Just this comment from 6 years ago.
Those
I'm
are
like,
your people.
I'm like, I know you posted this 6 years ago, but how do you feel about them now? And can we be friends, please?
Can we be friends, please?
Yeah.
I just have an honorable mention. It's kind of a shorter segment anyway, but Batman Arkham Asylum has the whole Killer Croc set up, the whole level. Yeah.
Yes!
It's just very escape Killer Croc, level. But I just love that they were setting it up the entire game. Like as soon as you enter Arkham, you see Killer Croc. He's like, "Oh, I'm going to hunt you," and that's kind of like the whole game. And then he does, yes. But
if I remember correctly, don't they kind of spook you a little bit as you're going through the tunnels? It's like you see like things splashing up or whatever, and you're like, you know what's going on, obviously, but it's meant, it's not like it's just immediately he's there.
Yeah.
It's a bit jump scary as you're walking. It's a bit spooky. The idea.
Yeah,
you see something like run in the background or whatever. I haven't played it in years.
There's also like just while you're playing through the story, even like before you go to the sewer, you'll be like behind doors and then you'll see Killer Croc. Like I think there's a whole cutscene where he just like punches the door in front of you and he can't get in. And he's like, "I'm gonna find you," I'm gonna get you, Batman.
Awesome.
I do remember that being like a weirdly tense and terrifying bit of the game.
Yeah.
I do remember that. Wasn't it like a jump scare if he got you as well? Like if you got caught by him, it's fully like. "Rah!"
Yeah, I think it's like a first person point of view of him eating you, basically.
Oh.
Yeah.
Lush,
Yeah. It's yeah, Batman though. It's I love it. It was it's just a good one.
Great.
I didn't feel like
That
there
was
was
a great mention.
yeah, not much to the level itself, but just I don't know, just the setup for it was great.
Great games as well.
Mm.
I miss them every day.
Alrighty, guys. I think we'll wrap it up here. If you guys are over at Twitch, if you'd stick around for the raid, that would be awesome. Oh, and thank you for all these follows. Wow, thank you guys. Sorry, I didn't have an alert up for this. I normally don't for the podcast because it can get too much. But guys, thank you guys so much again for all the support and everything. Thank you to Buddy Games as well, guys. If you are not following them, please go follow them. Here's a link in chat if you're over on YouTube in the description. And yeah, thank you guys so much. We're going sorry. Wrapping up and starting is always like a whole thing.
It's always the hardest part, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Thanks for having us for a chat about sewer levels.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank
Well,
you.
honestly-
Thank you. You
This is
guys
the first time and probably the last time I'm doing this in my life.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
But I it was great. You guys were so knowledgeable about sewer levels, and I was like, oh, it's like I felt like I was struggling all week. Awesome. Yeah. We are starting out with the raid, and thank you again so much. We'll see y'all next time. Bye.
Cool. Thanks for having us. Bye
Thank you
bye.
for having us. Bye, everyone.